As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkion, and we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing himself and clan NWCE. It is ReBellioN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Eba. Let's go. Have our PvZ for the chat. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. We have seen Eba performing very well as of late. I think it was even last week where Eba, he even was having a deeper and deeper run, making it to the semifinals. Eba did have to forfeit last week because of the Wardy 3v3 tournament. That is why Eba was unable to continue his run last week. But now there is no team league tournament. There is no, there is no team events going on. There is no other tournaments. Now we can all focus on the Sparkling Tuna Cup. No delays, no walkovers, not this time. And coming into this series, I would be favoring Eba in this ZvP. Really, I'm going to be looking to ReBellioN to try to slip Eba up. We'll see if he can bring him down. ReBellioN, he's very mid-game oriented in PvZ as well, so we'll see if he can try to catch Eba off guard. There we go. As we are settling in. This didn't feel anywhere near the same skill. As we mentioned, again, we had ReBellioN as the GM, semi-pro, and we had a more amateur player stepping into the ring in the first round. No shame in that. Not at all. As we are going to be settling in. From here, we're just going to be joining up, getting into our hatch gas pool. Standard opener out of Eba, likewise gate expand out of ReBellioN as well. Everything looking as it should, everything looking normal. And we'll see what kind of openers we do end up in and what tech ReBellioN goes for. Based on the pylon, it does look like a Stargate opener, as typically we would try to throw it down a little bit further back to hide our Twilight Council or our Robo. So there it is, Stargate has been placed. Everything's still looking standard from ReBellioN. Is going to be going for an Oracle opener. Eba back at home will be expanding, getting his third, joining on up, and settling in. Again, Eba typically is more of the reacting player. Doesn't often, go into his own all-ins or his own roach aggression, typically. So we're more looking at ReBellioN to see how he does kind of dictate the flow of the game. The pace of the game, even. Depth is going to be waddling in towards that main, just trying to get a scout off, trying to make sure there's no extra gas, guys, there's no hidden tech. So just a bit of scouting out of ReBellioN before getting the hell out of there. Doesn't overextend, doesn't lose his depth, thankfully. Will get away. Likewise, first Oracle is soon to move out across the map. ReBellioN will get caught out though. Eba on the chase, getting the first adept. Pretty big pickoff. First adept goes down. That does mean that ReBellion's going to have that much less to defend his third. It is going to be the Stalker follow-up. Overlord's being chased down, and Eba will check that third base and will attempt to delay. And Eba's on location. Will chase down the probe at least. Doesn't quite delay the expansion. Gets a kill on the probe. Behind this, going to be joining up. And we do have a very fast Twilight Council out of ReBellioN. Now, this was a Twilight Council after the initial Nexus, but still a very early Twilight Council. Gateway explosion behind this. This does look like Glaives. This looks like Glaive Adepts, assuming, there is no Forge. There's no Forge, there's no +1. And you can see more Adepts are already being warped in. So a very aggressive build here by ReBellioN. And if Eba delays his tech, delays his Roach one, and if he drones up too much, he can be caught out. As I say that though, safety Roach Warren here out of Eba, throwing it down at the 4-minute 30 mark, so very safe play. As we did mention, it was Glaives. Again, there's no Forge, no +1, so it is going to be Glaive Adepts here for ReBellioN. This is delayed compared to a regular Glaive Adept build, but the goal here, the purpose, and the hope for the Protoss is for the Zerg player to skip their Roach Warren. But again, as we mentioned, Eba did get it, which means he has the potential, he has access to Roaches, he can then defend. Likewise, he's looking to wall off as well. Evo Chamber has been placed, and we do have enough room for one more Evo Chamber to fully wall off the natural as well. So Eba playing very safely here. Oracle is denied. Likewise, second Oracle into the main, but Queens are everywhere. We have 3 Queens in the main. We have 3 Queens here at the third. Eba does defend, and Eba is making safety Roaches. Meanwhile, the Adepts are amassing. So far, only 4, but we should be getting extra Warpins. Oh, there we go. Did I say 4? I meant to say up to 10. 10, now 11 Adepts. The Adepts have just been confirmed. Now Eba knows. Now Eba knows. You can see Eba, he pulls one of his boys. He's ready to fully wall off. He's amassing more Roaches, amassing more Lings. And it's going to be difficult, not impossible, but difficult for ReBellioN to actually get damage done here. Eba has seen everything he needs to. The Adepts are moving out. And Eba is getting ready. But it will still come down to the execution. Eba has the tools to defend. But can he pull it off? ReBellioN does shade towards the natural. Eba does throw down the Evo Chamber. Adepts are forced back. ReBellioN does commit. He's going to knock down that wall, but it does buy time. Nice cancel there by Eba. Does buy time. Adepts, they bust into the natural. They do get 3 drone kills so far. Not bad. Up to 4. 4 drones go down, head into the main. Eba, he has to pull away. Up. Oh, does pull away, but still does not lose any more drones. Still only 4. Queen goes down. Adept shading out. And so far, it has been a solid defense. 4 drone kills is not good enough. And ReBellioN needs more. As he shades towards the third. Meanwhile, Eba, he's on 4 bases. He's droning up. Amassing more Roaches. And ReBellioN is now transitioning into Blink. Yeah, Blink on the way, +1 with the Forge, of course, at the natural. ReBellioN is trying to build on that next step. But alas, this is giving Eba a lot of freedom and a lot of breathing room. Again, because Blink is so delayed to compare to a normal build, that means Eba, he can drone up to 73. He can drone up to 4 base saturation. We have the next step as well. We have Hydra Den on the way. We have Infestation. We're getting ready for Hydras, getting ready for Lurker Tech. Eba is free to get ready for the late game. He is free to tech up, and ReBellioN can't really do much of anything here. Again, because of his opener, he had to do more economic damage. He failed to do so, and that puts the Protoss in a rough state. Does put him behind. Now, not impossible to bounce back. It's not like ReBellioN was all in. No, not at all. But still in a rough game state. As ReBellioN is now trying to work towards a splash damage. Second Robo's on the way. Bay is done. Disruptor production has begun as well. As we all know, Disruptors, they can make or break a fight for you. They can either win you everything or lose you everything as well. Very high risk, high reward. But Novas, they have potential to pop off. So ReBellioN is amassing its Disruptors. Likewise, Hive is on the way for Eba. How do you counter Disruptors or high-tech units in general? I mean, again, Eba doing the correct thing here after getting ahead, getting further ahead, taking into Hive, into Vipers. Vipers are going to be the nail in the coffin here, as they can shut down everything. And meanwhile, the Changeling does confirm. Changeling here gets eyes on the Robos, on the Disruptor production. Eba knows. So Eba is setting up. And again, still just waiting for that Hive. Until then, Lair Tech Lurkers are being morphed in. Did make a safety amount of Hydras and Roaches to survive. Now, until Vipers pop out, ReBellioN can still take a fight. He's moving forward with his Disruptors. Does get eyes on the Lurkers, gets a Revelation up. Holding on to that Nova, does go up. Ooh, doesn't connect. Yeah, second one doesn't either. Get a nice target firing out of Eba. The third Nova will massive connection here on the Roaches. Very nicely done. But alas, that was only Roaches going down, and Eba, he wants to get rid of them. He wants to get rid of Roaches, replace them with Hydras, with Lurkers, with Vipers as well. But now still engaging. Trading with the army, going for the Disruptor. Will get one. Disruptor is targeted down. There's one Disruptor left. More on the way. Yeah, but still amassing his army, still trying to survive. Behind this, there are the Vipers. 2 Vipers on the way for Iba. The Vipers are coming. And this Stalker-based army just cannot push into this. Not like this, Pappy. Not up a ramp, into a concave of Lunkers. Nova goes off, takes out 1 Hydra, second Nova as well. Gets a connection, but 2 Novas are required. Disruptors go down. Iba takes a fight, resets the Disruptor count. And even though I was saying how do you counter Disruptors? Or with Vipers, Iba's been doing well without them. Even without Vipers, Iba, he's been shutting down Disruptor after Disruptor. Taking these fights, been very confident. And ReBellioN is now stuck with a gateway army, just Stalkers and Zealots. And alas, after every fight, because the Disruptor count has been reset, ReBellioN, he's just being outscaled. He's being outscaled at this point, as he's down to 1 Disruptor. He's lost 4 so far. I mean, imagine 5 Disruptors with this army. He could poke in, he could threaten the Lurkers, of course. The game state would be very different. But it's just been too many losses for ReBellioN. Now poking in, clearing up creep. Iba going for a counterattack. Ooh, does take some stasis traps to the face. Does force ReBellioN back home. Speaking of back at home, ReBellioN, he's taking and transitioning into Skytos. Tempest production has begun, but we get the Nidus Storm into the main base and into the natural at the same time. Yeah, Iba, he's all over this. Nidusing everywhere, forcing a recall. Recall towards the main. Boys are being pulled here at the natural. Nidus Storms do complete. And the Lurkers have arrived. And the Lunkers back. They're here. Yeah, they bust into the main base. No detection. Ooh, Disruptor goes down. Likewise, Lurkers in the natural as well. Just barely. They did pop out. And the main army is pushing through the center. A tri-pronged attack by Iba. And there's just not much to defend. I mean, Zealots are trying to hold their own. They get forced into Lurker range. Yeah, massive spine shots go off. And Iba, he's just pulling ReBellioN apart. Lurkers are being cleaned up. There's a handful of them left. But Iba did enough. ReBellioN does come in with a concave, does come in with almost a surround. The best fight that ReBellioN could have hoped for. And he will clean this up just barely. Takes out all the Lurkers. He survives. He holds on to the... Oh, never mind. I was going to say he holds on to the gold. Didn't happen. Nexus did go down just barely. And even though ReBellioN, he survived, he's not quite living here. He's still in a brutal position, lost so many probes, lost most of his army. ReBellioN, he is barely holding on, and Iba, he's snowballing out of control at this point. And again, a lot of this did come down to the initial build. Winding it all back, it all started with the failed Glaive Adepts. That gave Iba the breathing room he needed to get further and further ahead and snowball into this kind of game state. That was followed, of course, by the insane fights that Iba was taking. Again, keeping the Disruptor count in check, sniping them time and time again, making sure ReBellioN did not hit critical mass of Disruptors. And now we're here. Lurkers, they do burrow in time. There's just the 1 Tempest. And Iba can chase us down. The Yoinks come in. Let's go. The Vipers, they do something. They help in some way. They abduct the Tempest, 2 of the Immortals. And Iba, he can just rally across the map, pushing up the ramp towards the natural. Lurkers have arrived. And GG gets called. Iba will take game number 1. GG. Again, very powerful play there out of Iba, just getting a read on what was going on, playing very safely. As a reminder, Iba did throw down a safety Roach Warren, even though he didn't initially scout the faster Twilight Council and the late Forge. Iba was just playing very safe. Afterwards, he did confirm the Adept Warp Bins. He was already ready with the Wall-Off at the Natural, and if you remember, despite the, 11, 12 Adepts that were warped in, they only got 4 drone kills. Only 4 drones went down, and after that, Eba had so much breathing room because ReBellioN, he just had no follow-up, or I should say his follow-up was delayed, getting to +1 Blink Stalkers. It allowed Eba to drone and allowed Eba to tech. And with that, Eba does take a lead in the series. And now we're getting into game number 2. We're jumping into that second game, and we'll see if ReBellioN can bounce back. Again, I mentioned before that ReBellioN usually thrives in the mid game. He can be a very aggressive player. We saw he was being quite cheeky, and if Eba was cutting corners, if he was, for example, skipping the Roach Warren and going into Ling Hydra, for example, or if he was just droning up a little bit too much, then he would be punished for it, of course. Likewise, ReBellioN, he could go for a Twilight Council opener, could go for something a little bit more aggressive and more cheeky. We'll see. We'll see if he does anything but a Stargate. As we're loading into game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Clan NWCE. It is ReBellioN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player from the land of the UK, representing the Platinum Heroes, leading the series 1-0. It is Eba. Here we go. So now we are settling in. Eba opening up hatch gas pool. And likewise, ReBellioN going for a gate expand as well. So everything so far looking once again as it should. Really, our big tells are going to be the pylon placements for ReBellioN to see if he goes for another Stargate. To see if he goes for something different. I mean, we're loading into Golden Aura, a very large map, so aggression can be quite difficult to really pull off. So we could even just see a standard opener from ReBellioN instead. Could it just be standard? So our Cybercore on the way, ReBellioN just being as annoying as possible, trying to force some inefficient mining in the main. And we'll get out. And again, I'm just really excited to see Eba once again. I mentioned previously that Eba, he was actually potentially favored to win last week's tournament as well. Like, Eba was on fire. He's been doing really well, has been improving a lot. I don't know what it is even. I know that Eba, he was very kind of disheartened by the game stage. You know, he was off racing a lot, especially a couple of months ago, I mean, throughout the majority of this year. Eba was very demotivated by Zerg. But over the past like month or so, Eba, he's been back on that grind. It's been really cool to see. Really cool to see Eba just embracing Zerg once again and competing and improving. Meanwhile, speaking of aggressive builds, as we mentioned before, this time it is not a Stargate, it is a Robo Opener out of ReBellioN. And this could be the beginning of a 2-base all-in. With a Robo Opener, this can go a couple of different ways. In a more standard game state, and if we had a more standard player, I would assume this was for a Disruptor drop. We could see Robo into a Bay into Disruptors. If this was Estrella, he does have a double Disruptor drop build as well. Eba does Scout. Eba confirms the Robo, is aware of what's going on, and does respond with a fast Lair. Interesting. Lair is on the way. And ReBellioN actually opening up... Wait, what? He's going to be opening up War Prism into a Forge. Okay, interesting. So really fast +1 attack here out of ReBellioN. Is he going into a charge all in? I'm leaning towards it. Twilight Council has been placed. We'll see if he does embrace charge or if he goes somewhere else. This should not be Glaives. Glaives do not coincide with Forge with +1. Immortals on the way. And show us that charge. As ReBellioN does move out. And he's trying to get eyes on the Overlord. Lair is almost done. Now the Lair will allow Eba to morph in an Overseer and go for another Scout. As Eba does already have his Roach Warren, safety Roaches are amassing. Yep, there we go. It is going to be a charge all in, as we mentioned. So +1, a charge on the way for the Protoss. Eba's not fully aware of what's going on, but he is getting a safety Spine Crawler. Again, he knows something weird is happening. He's aware that there is no expansion, there is no third. Richards are amassing, Queens as well. Eba getting ready for whatever comes his way. Here comes that Overseer. Eba will eventually confirm that it is going to be charge. ReBellioN does threaten the main. Eba's keeping up. God, how many gates? Are we getting up to 8 gates? Oh my god. 7 gate, 2 base all in out of ReBellioN. Let's go. The gateways are amassing. And Eba did get eyes on the gateway count. Yeah, he saw the forge. He knows. Eba knows what's going on. Eba should not be pushing though. I mean, as I say that, because of the gateway explosion, where are the Zealots? Okay, Eba, he turns back around. Distracted by the Adepts. Like, ReBellioN has been skipping warp-ins. So, technically, Eba, he can turn this defense into an offense and deny the third. It's going to be possible. Eba getting supply blocked. Taking extra gases. Now moving up with his army. Roach speed is done. I don't know if Eba can really do much, though. Not anymore. Does run into ReBellioN. Some more Zealots are morphing in. Eba trying to slow him down. He needs more Roaches. 13 more Roaches in production. The Ravagers are a bit exposed. Eba, he has to get the hell out of here. Leads out 1 Roach. But does pull away. Does pull away in time. He has to be very careful not to be caught out by the force fields. Speaking of, ReBellioN rotating. Likewise, ReBellioN has to be very careful with how and when he does use those force fields as well. And he backs up. ReBellioN, he sees the Roach army, he backs the hell off. Going for an immortal drop. Likewise, Eba, he scouts with the Changeling, gets eyes on the saturation, is aware of the third. Immortals, they bust into the main. But here comes Eba, and that means the Immortals are not at home to defend. Uh-oh. There's 2 Immortals, only 2. Good amount of sentries. But that's where the Ravagers come into play. They shut down the force fields. Eba forcing his way in. Yeah, the force field's even working against ReBellioN here. Zealots, they get choked up. More Roaches have arrived, and Eba, he's knocking down the third base. Barely anything to defend. The sentries go down, only Immortals remaining. I mean, ReBellioN, he can juggle his heart out, that's true, but there's up to 5 Immortals. Jesus. A lot of Immortals. With the juggling party, ReBellioN, he can hold. Up. Hasn't lost anything yet. Yeah, he does hold on. The juggling was on point. Little single Immortal goes down. Eba does get the mineral line, though. He gets 12 probes. 12 probes go down. But Eba, he threw away a lot of Roaches there. That was 42! Jesus. 42 Roaches falling and 3 Ravagers. The power of the Immortal. ReBellioN, he holds on. He survives. And now we can settle into our game. Eba has to redrone, has to resaturate. Likewise, so ReBellioN. Worker counts are similar. Eba taking up into Hydras. And Eba has to calm things down. Has to try to macro out of this. ReBellioN already moving out. I mean, that is a hefty Immortal count. 5 Immortals and plenty of sentries. And speaking of, does force field. Catches out some of those Roaches. Eba has to back up. And again, ideally, Eba, he lures the army onto creep. Fights with a better concave. Forces out some of those force fields. Getting on top of the Immortals. And ReBellioN, he cannot push in. That's the back off for now. Rotating instead. Saturating his third. Likewise, Eva getting into speed. Into Baneling speed as well. ReBellioN does catch out the Roaches. Not bad. Roaches are going down. ReBellioN rotating. Does hit the fourth. Eva pulling back. I mean, bold move here out of ReBellioN. He's still pushing in. I mean, he's trading well. Backs off behind this. Roach counterattack does hit the mineral line. Eva getting 5 probe kills. And ReBellioN does back off. Again, no shield batteries back at home. No static defense. Has to warp in. Eventually does clean up the Roaches, but that gives Eva time. That gives him breathing room, allows him to drone, allows him to build up more Lings. And now Banelings. And here we go. It's going to be Ling Bane Roach Ravager. Now he has a much more robust army. Now Eva, he can't surround. And ReBellioN has to get the hell out of here. Especially with Ling Bane. Eva can lock down the army. ReBellioN pushing in. Basically, now Eva has dive potential. Splaze rain down, they don't quite connect. One Immortal goes down, it gets picked up. Second Immortal as well. And where's the War Prism? War Prism a little bit too far behind, and ReBellion's gonna lose everything. The Immortal count gets reset, 5 Immortals fall. The Stalkers as well. And Eva, he shuts down this army. Again, once he saw the Ling Bane, he had to get the hell out of here. He had to back off, but he stuck around. And he found out. Losing far too much. The Vials, they connect, they take down the War Prism. War Prism falls. That's the entire army of ReBellioN falling. Now Eva can snowball from here. GG gets called. Eva will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. GG, well played. A very intense game too. Game 1 was a little bit more, just a little bit more, again, standard, or I say standard, was a little bit more in favor of Eva, where Eva, after he defended against the Glaive Adepts, he was just ahead, and he just maintained his lead. Here in Game 2, it was more of a back and forth, especially considering the impressive defense out of ReBellioN at his third base. If you remember, ReBellioN was up against a massive army of Roach Ravager. He had 5 Immortals, and he didn't lose a single one. It was very impressive, ReBellion's micro and control in that battle, in that fight. Gave him map control. He was, again, threatening Eva. But as we mentioned, once Eva had a more mobile army with Ling Bane to support his Roach Ravager, that's when ReBellioN had to get the hell off the map and had to race back home. But he stuck around. He was still being very active. He was still trying to threaten Eva, and did pay the price for it. In the end, Eva did collapse on him and did clean up that army. GG. GG, well played. And Eva will advance on to the next round. And the question becomes, who will face off against him? Who's it going to be? Exclamation mark B in the